Now that we have our elements in place, we're going to start to animate them. On the window, go to Timeline, and this will set a new set of tools at the bottom of the screen. At the moment, there is no timeline available, so we need to switch from Create Video Timeline to Create Frame Animation. We need to have frames for the work we're about to do. Click on the Create Frame button, and our first frame appears on the timeline. This is a starting point. We now need to make a final frame, and we do this by duplicating using the New Frame button, which is a page with a turned up corner. And we now have two exact copies of each other. Frame 1 and frame 2 are exactly the same. Change the time that frame 1 runs for 2 seconds. And then make some changes on frame 2 to the positions. For example, we're going to move the words Aston and the yellow bar to move together. Notice the capital A is moving here because that is the layer that is selected. Switch to Aston and move that over the crossbar. And change its opacity, its fill, up to 100% so that it's a solid colour. Do the same with rectangle 1. Move it up to the crossbar and set the fill to 100%. Notice the A is in front of the yellow bar here, so we're going to drag the layers around so that they are in the correct order, and the yellow bar is on top of the grey square, so the grey A. Now we have a starting frame and an end frame. We're going to make them flip forever. And when we press play, you will see that it's a very quick and jerky motion. So what we need to do is to change the timings and make things smoother. We're going to use the Tween tool to do this. Change the length of time on the first frame to 0.1 seconds, and then click on the Tween button and choose to add a number of frames. 10 frames would be a good number of in-between frames to put into the animation. Make sure that it's applying to all layers and that all of the parameters are ticked. We're going to tween the position and the transparency or opacity. And you can see that the timeline now has a large number of frames appearing with a slight change between each frame. If we press play now, we see a smooth animation of the elements moving towards the centre of the screen. It will be helpful if the last frame is displayed for a certain amount of time. So we're going to duplicate that. We're going to add the word Academy to appear there. You remember to choose your font and choose a suitable size before typing into the text box. If you have set a size of 300, this will try to carry over and it will not fit into the box you're making. So you will have to change the size down to something sensible, say perhaps 30 points, before you start typing. Try to adjust the size so that it's the same width as the capital A. Here, 60 points has done for this particular font. And then change it back to the same colour that matches the word Aston in the logo. Notice that the word Academy has now appeared on all the other frames as well. This only really works for text layers and does not always work for shape layers. So we need to go back to the first frame and use the eye tool to switch off on those frames and only have the eye showing on the final frame. That will show the word Academy at the end. And we'll show this for 1 second. And you can now see that at the end of the logo, the word Academy appears and stays on screen for a second.